Okay, hi third graders. It's me, Mrs. Fenters, and I just wanted to check in with you guys and again let you hear my voice a little. Pretend that we're at school and this is our whiteboard and it's dark, so you can't really see me anyway. We're going to talk a little bit about fractions of a group. I had a couple of questions today on this worksheet, so it might look a little familiar to you guys. And not so much about, just counting up the shaded things here. That's pretty easy to see the ones that are shaded versus the ones that are the full amount of cars. It was more of a question with some of these, naming a fraction greater than 1, because that can be a little tricky, okay? Let's just, though, take a minute and review how we name fractions. And if you've been watching the on-the-spot videos with Professor Berger, you should know that when we name fractions, we name the top number, which is the numerator, and the bottom number, which is the denominator. The top number tells us how many are shaded, and the bottom number, the denominator, tells us how many are in the entire group, okay? So, step 1, count how many of the cars are actually shaded. 1, 2, 3. That is the numerator, the top number of the fraction. And then step 2, count the total number of cars in the group, which is 8. 4 and 4 is 8. That is the denominator, or the bottom number of the fraction. Boys and girls, I used to teach my previous classes that denominator means down. And if you remember that denominator, D for down, that might help you to remember that the bottom number of a fraction is called the denominator, or down, the number that is down below that line, okay? So that might be a helpful hint for you guys. Step 3, read the fraction. 3/8, or 3 out of 8 are shaded. So 3/8 of Adam's cars are shaded. Okay, pretty easy, right? So for these two, all you had to do was name the fraction. So look at the shaded flowers. How many of the flowers are shaded? Well, go back to your cheat box. Remember, guys, this is kind of your cheat box. It tells you how to solve all these problems. 2 are shaded, so that's my numerator. 2 out of a total of 4 flowers. So 2 out of 4 flowers. Sorry, didn't mean to get my hand in the way there, guys. 2 out of 4 flowers are shaded. So the way we write that fraction, and pardon me, I'm going to try to write here on my little makeshift whiteboard. 2/4 is how we write that, okay? So take a look at your bananas. How many are shaded? Follow the steps. 1, 2, 3. How many are in my total group? 4. So my fraction is 3 out of 4. Notice I'm using the slash sign, okay? Just like you guys are typing with the slash sign, I'm using the slash sign. 3/4 of the bananas are shaded, okay? Now, take a look at the bottom, because that's where it gets a little tricky. And boys and girls, as you know, Vivian is doing the same math you guys are doing. So I'm Mrs. Fenters to you, but I'm mom to Vivian, and I'm having to help her too. So I know that you guys, some of you struggle with these things, so it's important that we go over them. Okay, these directions say write a whole number and a fraction greater than 1 to name the part that is filled. Okay, so let's do the first step, which says write a whole number. So the whole number, think 1 can equals 1, okay? So this is a can of tennis balls. This is a can of tennis balls. How many cans of tennis balls do I have? 2. So how many holes do I have? Well, I have 2 whole cans. That was my first step, so that's a 2, right? The second step, write the fraction that is greater than 1. Okay, here is where it gets tricky. How many total tennis balls do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is my numerator, the top number. I have a total number of 6 tennis balls. So I'm going to put that up on the top. That's my top number, okay? Put my slash. Now, what are my groups divided into? If I were to divide these into groups, how many tennis balls does each can have? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if these were little square boxes, oops, sorry, I moved my whiteboard. If these were little square boxes, they'd be divided into thirds. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So because my tennis balls cans are divided into thirds, that is my numerator. So 2 is the same as saying 6 thirds. I have 6 thirds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thirds. This is a fraction bigger than 1. Okay, that's how we write a fraction bigger than 1. So you count the total number of tennis balls, and then what are each group divided into? Well, they're divided into thirds. Okay, so let's try the pan of cupcakes or the pan of muffins, whatever we want to call these, okay? Think, 1 pan equals 1. I have not 1 pan, but 2 pans. So what is my whole number? Same as the number 3. 2 is my whole number, okay? Now, how many total muffins do I have? You take a minute to count them up, and I'm going to do the same. Okay, I know what I counted. If you counted correctly, you should have counted, not picked, but counted 12. 12 whole muffins. That's my numerator. Now, what are these pans divided into? Let's pretend if I were to draw lines. Ooh. Sorry, my lines aren't very good, guys. In fact, I should try to redo that. Sorry. You guys know me, Mrs. Fenters here. I'm working on the fly here, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. Let's just count these up. They're divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each one of these are divided into sixths because each pan has 6 muffins. So the denominator is 6. 12 sixths I have here. Count them all up, that's 12, and each pan has 6 in it. So the fraction greater than 1, is 12 sixths, okay? All right, let's try to do one more. And instead of having you watch my makeshift whiteboard, I'm going to move you over here to my real whiteboard. Okay, so if I were to draw you a group here, let's say, here's my group. And you know I'm going to do X's because X's are nice and orderly. Okay, so here's my group, okay? Here's a group, here's a group. Let's say these are kids standing in a line. Let's say these are some of you guys standing in a line, right? So let's think, how many groups do I have? Full groups. If this is a full group and this is a full group, then I have 2 full groups. But if I wanted to put this in a fraction form, okay, let's think about it this way. This is where little circles around my X's come into handy. Here's a group, and here's a group. How many total kids do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is my numerator, guys, the top number. I have 8 total kids. And what is each group divided into? How many kids are in each group? 1, 2, 3, 4. So my fraction greater than 1 is 8 fourths. Okay? All right. You guys can certainly practice this on your own. Show this video to mom and dad or grandma, grandpa, and then maybe they can draw some problems for you to practice on your own. Okay? But when you hear or see on possibly some future math assignments, this whole idea of a fraction that is greater than 1, okay, then you just have to remember those tips and tricks. How many total items do I have? And then what are each of those groups or circles or muffin tins or cans divided into, and that's my denominator, okay? All right, guys, you're doing great. I'm still loving seeing all your hard work coming in via Google Classroom, and look out later today for an email about our Zoom chat. Remember, we're going to do a boy Zoom chat on Thursday, and we're going to do a girl Zoom chat on Thursday, and I will send out that information later on today, probably this afternoon or evening, once I situate my schedule and I see when's going to work the best, okay? All right, I miss you all, and I can't wait to see you guys on Thursday. Okay, bye.